Hey everybody, it is Kyle. I am coming to you from my car. I want to talk a little bit today about, I don't know. I really don't know. I guess what I would talk about today is, one thing that kind of cracks me up that I see a lot in the chat rooms and stuff like that, groups that I'm in, the reseller groups. Everybody is a know-it-all. Everybody is the end-all be-all answer to everything. And it's funny because I watch a lot of Commonwealth Picker, and he talks about that all the time. He says, look, man, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm showing you what I do, and I'm explaining why I do it. And I think a lot of people don't get that. So when I come back after the break here, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to go through some sales, even though almost all of my sales are for the reason that I'm going in this car right now. Yeah, so be right back.
Yeah, tune in, you know the name now. Hawk Picks, we running the game now. From the thrift to the flip.
All right, and we're back. So, yeah, people that are know-it-alls, people that know everything about reselling. Now, the way I look at it is Commonwealth Picker, man, he's been doing this 25 years, right? Which is crazy. It's hard to even think that 25 years ago, eBay was a mainstream place to sell things. But if you think about it, I mean, that's 2001. I know eBay existed before that. I actually bought things from them before that, and I might have even sold something on there before that. But yeah, the way I look at it is, I'm going to listen to him. I might not follow every single thing he says. You got to do it your way, and he says that all the time too. But yeah, I value his information and I value his opinion on things. Again, I'm going to do it my way, just like he's going to do it his way. And if you're doing it, you should do it your way. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with listening to people and taking a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and then a whole lot of it from experience, because that's really where you're going to figure out what the hell's going on as far as your business and what you're doing. Okay, so just think about that, because that's really what's behind the whole deal, to me anyway. All right, so let me go into this a little bit and talk about some of my most recent sales. Again, most of my recent sales have to do with this fella that I'm going to meet right now again. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy what's been going on. I did sell a couple other things that are outside of this, though, all right? But most of this is all stuff I got from him. It was just kind of crazy. I'll start with the one I'm going to make the least amount of profit on. All right. That actually just sold last night, overnight. It is a Cooking Mama cook-off for Nintendo Wii. Game. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. Those were kind of a big deal, especially around the Wii. But they also were on some of the Game Boy, the DS and the 3DS systems. It's basically, a cooking game, but you're this cooking mama, and you have to whip together these meals. So I had that game for the Wii, and I have some more games for the Wii and for a GameCube. And really, I want to play some of those GameCube games. I need to crack that thing out and start playing that, because you can play GameCube games on the Wii, in case you didn't know that. But anyway, I had a bunch of these, and I noticed this one was worth a little bit of money. And I mean, again, this is one of those things where, hey, I'm clearing it out. We already own it. I didn't pay anything new for it or whatever. But I'll put a price to it. I'll look around, see what it usually goes for out there, in stores and stuff, and I'll put the value of it at that and then sell it. So this sold last night for $15.99. There are transaction fees of $2.59, of course. eBay's got to get their money. So then that leaves me with $13.40. Well, again, didn't really pay anything for it. So we profited $13.40 off of something that's just laying around the house that nobody's ever going to play again and nobody gives a crap about. So every sale counts. That's how you got to kind of look at it. I think you got to think about it that way, and that'll keep your head straight. All right. Here's another thing I had just sitting around the house. Now, this made a lot more money. So my wife's insurance, like we have insurance through her company, her business, her job, because her insurance is better value than mine. So the whole family goes through hers. We even tried to figure out, well, hey, what if we just put her and the kids on hers and put me on mine? Still, not a good deal. It's a better deal if the whole family is on hers. So that's why we're there. Anyway, they were running a big thing with heart health, and they had a thing you could send in and get a free Hello Heart blood pressure monitor, and it's Bluetooth. And I did it immediately and got it, and I use it. But she did it also, but she never even opened the box, you know. And realistically, do we both need one? We weren't thinking very much. We should have just had one come in. So I was like, hey, I wonder how much this bastard's worth. So I went and looked it up. This sold, and it's actually already delivered. This sold last week for $39.99. Pretty crazy. And if I look at the breakdown here, it sold for $39.99, and there was $5.90 in transaction fees, $1.30 for, doing the promotion fee, and then $7.87 to ship it, because it wasn't super light, and it is going kind of far. It's not real close. So we ended up with $24.92. Hey, man, that actually meets my number, right? I got to make 20 on every single thing. Well, there you go. Actually, we did, because we really paid nothing for it. We made over what I'm usually needing, okay? So we made $25 off this thing again. It's been sitting around over a year, never even been open. So it goes to a new home where somebody will use it, and that's another good thing about it. We did finally sell that last tea set. Last summer, my wife was... she went out one day, and I was kind of not feeling very good. So she went out thrifting one morning, and not really thrifting. She actually went garage sailing, and she went to a couple different places. This is where she found the bell, by the way, the famous bell story that she bought for, I don't know, $8, and we sold for $360 or something. Crazy. A carriage bell. You put it on the ground, it's got a little stomper. So before they had electronic, car horns and stuff like that, they would use these in carriages and in older, like Model Ts, sometimes on, trolleys, things like that. And the driver, if something was in front of them or they were letting people know they were coming through, they would just step on this bell. I just did it. I'm such a knucklehead. I can't even talk about it without doing it. But let me tell you something. Dude, this thing was loud as hell. I mean, very loud, and it resonated for a long time. It was pretty dirty and pretty messed up when we got it. I don't know why I'm going into this. You guys know about this. Anyway, long story short, when she was at, not that garage sale, but another one nearby, she found these sealed, 3 of them, vintage Easter tea sets. So they're kind of for the little kids, They got the Easter bunny on them and stuff like that. Sorry, you're going to have to put up with that noise again. They're doing a lot of construction the way I have to go to meet this fella, so no biggie. But anyway, yeah, she bought 3 of them. One of them sold pretty quickly, and then the second one sold. She bought those last summer. I think the first one sold maybe August or September, and then the next one sold in December, which is interesting. And we've had this last one sticking around since then. It's getting towards the end of March here pretty soon. I think a little past mid-March right now. Anyway, We sold it. We sold the last one for $49.99. She paid $8 for each one of these. So let's see how that breaks down. Now, this person had to pay shipping on a big box like that, and I'm gonna really have to pack it well, and all that jazz. And it's an odd size box, all that. Anyway, they paid $66.38. Then tax was $4.63, so you take that out. They paid $11.76 in shipping. Let's see, transaction fees were $8.83. The shipping label was actually a little more, $12.42. Okay, so I picked that up. Obviously, man, it's like 60-some cents. Who cares? And it was a little bigger than I originally assumed, just because of the way I packed it, man. I'm really careful on how I pack things like that. I've shipped 3 of these so far, and they've all 3 arrived in perfect shape. So, And then the ad fee was $1.99. So we walked away with $38.51. Well, she paid $8. We made $30.51 off this last tea set. I need to look up all 3 of these tea sets and see how much we ended up making off them, because, really, I want to say we made probably about this much on each one. I bet we made over $100 and initially put out $24. So I'm talking about the 100 after we paid for them. So yeah, man, pretty dang good thing. That's about $33 each. That's pretty awesome. All right, so let me get back to talking a little bit about these so-called experts. Again, I like Commonwealth Picker's approach, because that's his general attitude is, hey, this is what I do, this is why I do it. It's worked for me. I've been doing it a long time, but that doesn't mean I'm right. This is just what I do. And so, anyway, pretty cool. Sorry, I'm getting messages the whole time, guys. I apologize. I am going to meet someone. Anyway, he says that up front when he talks about everything. So, I like him a lot. I like J-Ride Flips. Don't know if you watch him. Now, here's what I've noticed about both these guys. They've been doing this a while. Now, J-Ride Flips makes a lot of money. He does this full time. So does Commonwealth Picker. He does this full time. Commonwealth Picker also has a huge social media presence. He does a lot of YouTube videos and stuff, and he makes a lot of money off that. He has built multiple sheds, big sheds. He's got a lot of land where he lives in Virginia. I think it's Virginia. It might be West Virginia. I don't know. Anyway, he's made a lot of money off this. He's built these sheds. He's got someone that works for him too. J-Ride Flips does this himself out of his garage. His wife works with him on it sometimes. They just had a child, so she's pretty much just working on taking care of a child mostly right now. But he makes a lot of money. What I've noticed about both these guys, they're not dead set on this certain dollar amount they have to make on everything like I am. So I don't have the room for lots of extra stuff like those two do. I don't even have a full garage just to myself, because I still have 2 teenagers living at home, right? When I do, I'm probably going to start kind of going that route that they go, where they'll buy like a big bag of like 200 watch bands or watches and give somebody, $50 for it. Or even if it's a couple hundred watches, $100 for it. So each one's 50 cents. J-Ride Flips does stuff like that, and then he turns around and he'll find, maybe 3, 4, maybe even 10 watches that pay for everything. And then everything after that is gravy. So, yeah, he'll do that, and he'll charge for shipping, but it doesn't cost a lot to ship a watch that's not in a watch box. You can bubble wrap it real good and put it in a mailer, a bubble wrap padded mailer, and you're good to go. Nothing's going to happen to it in transit. And I noticed that Commonwealth Picker does. He does everything flat rate, I believe. I should know this because I did buy one of his Enaman dolls, to keep things moving. But these guys have a different route of going about this. A lot of people are more like what I'm doing, and that's what I got to do right now, mostly for space. I don't have a ton of space, man. I've got a basement too. It's got a lot of stuff in it right now still because we've got kids. Now, when they move out, they're on their own and we're retired. Dude, that's going to be a warehouse. So's a garage. Well, maybe not. I'd like to have the garage so we can actually park our cars in it again. That would be beautiful. I remember the good old days when we were able to do that. Anyway, so they do it that way. And then I'll come back and I'll talk about some other people who do it a different way. But right now, let's just talk a little bit about some big sales. Now, all the big sales that I'm going to talk about have to do with the reason I'm on the road recording this. That is because of this gentleman that I met on Facebook Marketplace and these electronics. Primarily, it's because of two things that he sells me. And he sells them to me for pretty reasonable prices, obviously. But they sell for anywhere between, on these Brio webcams, these 4K webcams, I sell them for somewhere in between $90 and $100, basically. So I negotiate, like if I've got a guy, like so here's the deal. I sold 14 last night. So I gave the guy a pretty good deal, and I've sold to him before, so he's a repeat buyer, which also looks good on eBay. I sold him 14 last night. I sold them for $90 each. Sure, I'm making a little less profit, but on each one of those 14, I'm making a cool $50. So I'm going to walk away making like $700 on this deal. Plus I can ship them all together. So it's cheaper for me on the shipping end of things since I'm paying shipping on these. But I did sell one yesterday for $100 also. I had 15. So I did sell one for the full price yesterday as well. And I got to get that one in the mail today. But yeah. So there's that. And then the other thing he sold me, which really sells like crazy and sells for a lot of money, is he sells me these headsets, these Plantronics headsets. They're very nice. They're like professional, like company headsets. Those I sell for about $140 each, anywhere between $140 and $155, I believe. And I've sold those. I sell those before I even leave to go pick them up. Even though, same with these webcams, I sold 14 to this guy and I only have 10 sitting at home. I'm picking the other 4 up right now. So, yeah, pretty great stuff and great profits. I mean, on those headsets, I'm making like, I think I pay him. What did I pay him on those? 40 each? Yeah, here he is right now. Actually, I gotta pause. I'll come back, guys. Okay, sorry, I had to pick that stuff up, and then I had to eat a real quick breakfast. I'm sure you guys don't want to listen to some real nice high-definition audio of me munching down on a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, right? I don't eat a lot of breakfast fast food. I did really used to love Hardee's. They shut down, which was probably good, because you could almost hear yourself getting fat eating that food. But I do like a McDonald's breakfast every once in a while. So, and being on the run this morning and everything on a Sunday morning, probably a good time to do it. Because I got to get back, pack this stuff up, and get it shipped out. So, All right. So, yeah, I mean, everything that I've bought from this guy sells. And as a matter of fact, I grabbed the webcams from him. He had 8. Usually he doesn't have that many. So I got 2 cases of these things. 4 of those are sold in this big sale that I had with this guy. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be about $700 clearing at least. Maybe a little more, because shipping probably won't be so bad for me since I'm shipping them all together. It'll probably be just a few bucks each. Just to give you an idea, the guy who bought one of them for $100 yesterday, his shipping was like kind of pricey, man. Of course, it was going to Oregon. I'm in the Midwest in Kansas City. That's a pretty good jaunt. Oregon's up there pretty far. So, yeah. Anyway, I would never ever claim to be an expert in this or much else. Maybe music. I know a lot about music for from before I was born all the way up through. I don't know much of the 21st century music. I mean, I know plenty of it, but I don't know a lot about it. The popular music right now in the 2010s and the 2020s, I don't know a ton about. And I think it's mostly because I don't care for a lot of it. I care for some of it. I love some of it. I mean, there's some good groups out there, and there's some good. Greta Van Fleet's amazing, and I know they sound like they're from the 70s and 60s. I really love Run the Jewels, a lot. And there's a few others out there. There's some alternative, independent bands, that I like a lot. But in general, I'm not a huge fan of the latest music. Movies, I do kind of consider myself pretty knowledgeable and somewhat of an expert there because, I've just always loved films. I have a degree in film. I have 2 degrees. I have one in Japanese language, East Asian languages and cultures, with the emphasis in Japanese. And then I have another degree in film, film and video, with the emphasis in film. Probably 2/3 of that film degree is film history and the technology behind film, how to make films, all that. And then 1/3 of it is actually making films and writing scripts and doing all that editing. And when I went, it was film, right? I know almost everything since then has pretty much been video, which is fine. I taught myself so much of that stuff that it's fine. And it is very different. Everything's different with video than it is with film. I know I'm going off on a tangent here. Sorry. I consider myself somewhat experts in those things. I do not consider myself an expert in reselling. I've been doing it about 1.5 years now, and definitely made a lot of mistakes, and I know that's how you learn. But I got shelves full of mistakes. I really do. I mean, I have things that I bought that first month, November of 2024, that are still sitting on the shelf, right? So, I mean, I'll figure out a way to do it. I know that Commonwealth Picker does a lot of DibDit stuff, so that's on District. If you're not familiar with that, that's that live selling stuff, and he has someone who works for him that does all that, that he pays. And then I believe J. Rye Flips does some of that too. I know Harry Tornado is another guy out there. He and his wife, their videos are pretty cool sometimes, for sure. But they do Whatnot. They sell a lot of stuff on Whatnot. They have live shows almost every single day. And all these guys make thousands off these things. But none of the ones who are really, really successful are going, you got to do it this way. My way's the only way. Now, there is a guy out there, I don't remember his name, but I watched him a few times, and I kind of forgot about him because it turned me off. I didn't really want to watch him anymore. But a couple of them popped up recently, and I started watching them again, and that's his attitude. This is the only way to do it if you want to make $100,000 a year. It's like a TV commercial, right? Like an infomercial. Look, nobody knows that answer, man. No one does. So that's a bunch of bullshit. And so I've actually removed him from my feed so it doesn't show me his videos anymore. But another guy I used to really love, and he's not doing anymore, is Resale Mania. And he was kind of the same way. He never really talked about what's right and what's wrong. He more just did it. But he had some bad personal experiences. He's a great guy, man. I wish I could meet him. I wish I could buy him a beer and give him a hug after what happened with him. He was engaged, basically, and that fell through. But when that happened, he actually said, hey, I'm going to get rid of all my resale merchandise and all this stuff, and I'm going to go out and be a nomad for a while and go skiing and snowboarding and just travel. Pretty damn cool. I mean, that's cool that he can do that, and he's young enough to do it, and go for it, dude. Go find yourself, figure it out, But he never once was like, you have to do this, you have to do that. And another one that's like that too is Grams and Pops. If you ever watch them, they're not telling you what to do. They're telling you how they do it, and they're showing you how they do it. And they've been doing it a long time too, you know. Resell to Ride, they're the same way. I don't know how long they've been doing it. I've met Grams and Pops, by the way, and I met the folks from Resell to Ride. They're awesome. And they don't tell you what to do. They don't tell you you have to do it this way. They just show what they do. They do a lot of buying off auctioned, abandoned storage units. They do a lot there. They also have a little shop in a flea market, an indoor flea market. They have a deal there. So they sell a lot of stuff out of that as well. There's no wrong and there's no right way to do things. There's no wrong or right way to buy things. Some people have had horrible luck with Facebook Marketplace. I did. But then I met my friend about an hour away, and I bought some things from her, and they sold like hotcakes. And then I met this friend, and same thing, man. Sometimes you'll make those connections, so you don't want to just abandon it because you've had a bad luck or because somebody you're watching on YouTube has had bad luck. They don't have anything to do with you. They probably don't even live in the same area you do. So you can't make your decisions based on that. Anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because there's just so many social media influencers in the reselling deal that they all know it all and all that. Look, man, if you go to watch somebody and they're saying you have to do this way, and this is the only way you're going to make it, if you don't, you'll fail, then pull them out of your YouTube feed. You know, it's pretty easy. You just do a little drop down that says, don't show me any more videos from this person or from this channel or account or whatever, and you're done, right? There's another one I used to watch, and I won't say his name, but he started bringing up political shit in one of his videos, and I was like, well, fuck you, dude. And it wasn't just because I disagree with it. If he would have been bringing up things that I agree with, I still would have been pissed. That's not why I'm watching him. I don't give a shit what he thinks politically, you know? Commonwealth Picker took a little heat on that because he found and resold for a lot of money some MAGA hats, right? And I was like, oh, man, I wouldn't do that, but I get it. It's money. That would be a pickle to be in for me, because, you know, if I could buy a crate of those unopened for, you know, $500 and there's 150 of them in there, I'd probably think about doing it, because those things sell for a hell of a lot of money. I would imagine they're selling for less now, right? But they still sell for a lot of money. So you really have to say, hey, look, man, I sell things. I'm not worried about politics. It's kind of like, I was talking with my buddy Mikey about this, and you've heard me talk about Mikey on the other podcast. Mikey and PP and I have an ongoing chat on WhatsApp, and we're just on there shooting the shit. It used to be called the Old Farts. Now it's called the Bold Farts, because our opinions, we figure, are pretty bold. But we were talking a little bit about something like this. I saw a sticker, and it shows Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and I think Pete Hegseth, and they're all pointing in a certain direction, and it says, we did this. And what it is people buy these and they go out and they put them on gas pumps to show how much gas has gone up, right? And I remember when Joe Biden was in office, there was one that said, I did this, and it had him pointing. Same thing. You put it so the fingers are pointing at the price of the gas, you know? And I was kind of laughing about it. I'm like, man, whoever is making these is making a lot of money, you know? And we were just thought it was hilarious. And my buddy Mikey said, yeah, let me tell you, it's the same person. I almost guarantee it, because it's about sales and it's about money. It's not about personal beliefs. And I get that to a certain extent. He said that he went to a printer. His wife started up her own business, and he went to a printer to pick up some things, some flyers and some signage and stuff like that. And one time he went in there and it was all Joe Biden Harris signs and t-shirts and shit. And then he went in there again a few years later and it was all Trump fans. Same company. The point is that that's up to you. You have to make your own personal decision on that. And probably the smartest people who make the most money are just leaving those politics in the dust and making money, you know? You just have to decide where your line is and whether or not you can cross it. So, again, when Commonwealth Picker did that and he showed that he was sowing those, people went apeshit about it, you know? And they were pissed at him and yelling at him. I can't believe you did this. And some people feel that way about reselling Bibles. I can't believe you're doing that. That's the Lord's book or whatever. Hey, man, where did this Bible come from? Are they just handing them out to people? No, they're not the little New Testament ones, right, that people just hand out. And even if they were, how did they get those? They bought them, right? So you just have to think about what's important to you and what you can handle or not handle and what you'll do and what you won't do, and make your decision that way, man, and leave other people alone. They're going to do what they're going to do, and some of them are probably a hell of a lot smarter about business than I'll ever be. So I don't have any opinion on that stuff. Some of that stuff I could not do right now. You know, I don't know. I'll probably change my mind. But right now, no way. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I would never buy stickers and put them on gas pumps like that. Because number one, no president decides how much gas is, right? Sure, some of the decisions they make can influence how much it is, how much a barrel of oil is. But they're not intentionally going, raise it $3 to $3.80, or let's lower it below $3, you know. God, dude, you know what? When I was a kid, this is how old I am, man. Gas was pretty cheap. It wasn't when I was a little kid, because they had the oil crisis in the late 70s. But when I was, in junior high and high school, I remember you could go across the river, because I lived in Kansas, and there was a big bridge in our town that went over to Missouri, just went over the Missouri River. And I remember you could drive across the river and you could get gas for 87 cents a gallon. I shit you not. 87 cents a gallon, man. Pretty freaking crazy. I mean, pretty bizarre. But it was. That's how much it was. And we'd drive over the river because where I lived in Kansas, it was like $1.09. It was that big of a difference. So no one decides that stuff. Things that are going on in our world and in our society is what changes those things. I would tell that to anybody who's against electric cars and the like, that there's a reason that electric cars are around now, guys. There's a reason you see more and more Teslas and more of the Ford Mach-E Mustangs, oh shoot, man, big situation up here, big wreck up here. Crap-a-roni, man. Anyway, I guess I'll just talk to you longer. There's a reason all that stuff is going on, and it's because of what's going on in the world. It doesn't have anything to do with one person saying, hey, make it more or less. It just, those things happen sometimes. And when I say what's going on in the world, I mean in the Middle East mostly. What's going on can affect how much gas prices are, right? That's it. So when people were barking at Commonwealth Picker and getting up his butt about selling these MAGA hats, I thought about it and I said, he's making money, man. He's thinking about his business, and this is how he makes all his money. He doesn't work anywhere else. This is what he uses this money to feed his family. And people need to just shut up, because number one, you're not going to make someone stop doing it, right? You may make them stop showing themselves doing it, but you're not going to stop them from doing it, So what's the point? And number two, everybody has different beliefs and thoughts, man. I mean, that's just all there is to it. If it's okay with him, then it's okay with him. I don't really care. And so I think you got to have that frame of mind. Now, whether or not you decide to do it is up to you. And that goes for everything I've talked about, whether it be selling stuff that's political or religious, or whether it's just changing the amounts that you have to make per item to a percentage or something like that. Like, I got to get 200% for this or I'm not doing it, or I got to make $20 or I'm not even buying it to make a sale. You have to decide how important that is to you and make that decision. And once you do, then you'll know what's ultimately your parameters are. And those things may change as well. You may decide, I can't do this right now, or I can't sell this, or I'm not going to make enough money. And you may find out that, you know what? I can make money off this. I'm going to do this. For example, I'll just give you an example. We have the $20 thing, right? You got to make $20 off of this, or else I'm not going to buy it. Well, I can tell you that these Apple branded audio-visual dongles that I've been buying, they're mainly for iPad, but people use them for other things too. It's got USB-C on one side, or Thunderbolt 4, I believe they call it. And then on the other side, it has a USB 3 port, the A style. It has another USB port, C port, and then it has an HDMI port. You go in to buy those at Apple, and they're like $80 or something ridiculous, at least $60. I'm getting them for a heck of a lot cheaper than that, and I'm selling them for a lot cheaper than that. And if I were to sell them individually like that, I'm not going to make a ton of money. I'm definitely not going to make $20 for each one. But if I sell 20 of those at a time, I'm going to make quite a bit of money. And I did that this last week. I sold 20 of those to one buyer, and I made a fortune off of them. So you just have to figure out what works for you and how to adjust it accordingly, like I did there. And not everything has to be black and white. Everything has to be fluid. I mean, if you think about it, what's popular and what sells, it's always fluid, right? I have things I bought when they were super popular that haven't sold, and now they're not popular at all. I'm going to sell them probably for the same or less than I paid for them. So you just have to figure out what works for you and what the situation may be, when you're willing to take risks and all that jazz. And that'll help you decide how you want to run your business. And again, there's no wrong and there's no right. You may find something that works better for you that you never thought of trying, and you did, and now it's great. That's what I've got going on with this deal with this guy. You may find something there's no way I'd ever do that, but then you do try it and you sell a ton of them. Or you may sell something a whole bunch and you're like, I'm only doing this, and then it never sells. Those things can happen. Board games, that's a big thing for us, and puzzles. Man, we used to sell those things left and right. I still sell them, but not as often and not as much, and they're expensive to ship. So you just have to figure out what you want to do and the way you want to do it. And I suggest, I'm not telling you have to, but I suggest being fluid with it, like I've become. And that way you'll understand, hey, maybe I'll give this a try. It's pretty popular right now, Always refer to the sell-through rate, which is, you look up how many of them are selling, okay? So let's say you find something and you're like, how's this selling? You go on and there's 50 of them for sale, right? Then you refine your search to how many have sold within the last 90 days. And let's say 200 of them have sold in the last 90 days. Oh, holy crap. You're going to sell these probably as soon as you buy them and put them up for sale. Probably those ones you're looking at for sale right now are gone, or going to be gone soon. So something like that has a high sell-through rate. Even something where there's 100 for sale, but 50 have sold in the last 3 months. That's not bad. That's a pretty good sell-through rate. Depends on how big it is and how long you're willing to sit on it, right? So just keep your head straight. Do what works best for you. Go with your gut, okay? The vacuum cleaner that I bought, the robot vacuum cleaner, Now, I bought it because I thought we were going to use it, but I knew I had to buy it. I ended up selling parts from it and making, 3 times what I thought I could make if I sold it as a complete unit. So there's always a way to do things. You just have to figure out how you're willing to do it and what risk you're willing to take and what you're comfortable with, right? In any aspect. So there you go. That's my 3 cents today. I got to take a phone call now, so I will catch you guys later. Take it easy.
The hot finds, hawk picks, leaving the rest behind.